Welcome back. Maharashtra has released new SOPs for air, road and rail travel from Delhi NCR region, Gujarat, Goa as well as Rajasthan into Maharashtra. Will this dampen demand? Have we seen any cancellations? To discuss the impact and assess how the demand is shaped up in the current quarter, we're now joined by Sanjay Sethi, the MD and CEO of Chalet Hotels, and Mr. Ajay Bakaya, the Managing Director of Sarovar Hotels and Resorts. Gentlemen, morning and thanks so much for joining in. Mr. Sethi, if I may start the discussion with you, how many of your hotels and properties are currently in these four states, in Maharashtra, Delhi, Rajasthan, Goa as well as Gujarat, and any cancellations on account of the changed rules?
Well, good morning. Yeah, so out of these states, all our properties are actually in Maharashtra. In addition to that, we've got a property each in Karnataka and Telangana. So we're good. I think our portfolio hasn't seen any impact of this new rules. I don't see us getting impacted with any cancellations either, because a large part of the business that we have right now are large groups, either project-based groups or seafarers group, which will be traveling out of Mumbai. So we don't see any impact. In fact, I think it's going to work quite the opposite for us. People will now prefer doing staycations within Mumbai and Pune, where our properties are located, as against traveling to Rajasthan or Goa for the holidays. So we see a strong, potentially a strong demand pickup on the staycation side.
Good morning, gentlemen. Mr. Bakaya, what about you? I mean, again, impact on your properties would depend on where they are based. I mean, you are present in Delhi in a big way as well. Mr. Sethi mentioned that it works in the opposite fashion because people would prefer to sort of holiday within the city and not really move out. What's the situation at your end?
Hi, morning, Prashant. Morning, everyone. You mentioned earlier things like things being on the boil and heat from missiles. In our business, we've sort of been sitting on a simmer for the last 8 months. So we haven't seen any great heat. Yeah, we have 10 properties plus in Delhi NCR. We have 8 in Maharashtra, including 6 in Mumbai. We have 8 to 9 in Rajasthan. Quite honestly, these lockdown measures or restrictive measures are anticipated from place to place and time to time till we actually have a permanent solution in the form of a vaccine in place. Fortunately, in most of these cities, we are still allowed to go ahead with the weddings. Even if you have night curfews, for example, in cities in Rajasthan, they're allowing the wedding functions to go on. You need permission and you need to inform the authorities, and the numbers are capped, but we can go on. Sarovar does not have very large inventories to fill up in most cases. Our hotels are mid-size, anything from a 60 room to 150 rooms. Some exceptions are larger hotels. So also, other than wedding and social functions, people are not booking very much in advance. So we haven't faced cancellations. We have a barometer check on our online channels and the number of phone calls and the number of queries we get every day. And yes, there is some impact, but I don't think the impact is dramatic. Probably more like a 10%. And Prashant, we anticipate this to happen in different parts of the country from time to time. It's part of the game. On numbers, in September, we did a 25% occupancy across our 95 hotels, and we're operating 98% of our hotels. We did a 33% in October, and we're going to finish November with about a 36%. And we believe by the time we get into January, we should be hitting the 50% mark across the country. Prashant?
Okay, that's good to... Mr. Bakaya, that's good to know. So occupancies are expected to go up from 25% in September to 50% plus in 2021 as we start off the new year. Mr. Sethi, same question to you. If you could tell us what is the current occupancy now, how would it compare with, say, the month of September, and if you have any forecasts for occupancies going ahead, and give us a sense about the bookings for the current quarter.
Sure. Thank you so much for that question. Our September was weak. Our September occupancies were around 19%, but they grew sharply to 26% in October. And we see a similar sort of growth happening in December from October onwards. So I think pan-India, we see now low to mid-30% occupancies. Our portfolio is going to see similar sort of numbers. So we're seeing month-on-month growth in occupancies happening. And I think a large part of the business is now coming from large corporate movement of groups, largely project-based groups or some MICE events We also see a lot of traction on weddings, for example. Staycation is really doing very well in our hotels. Our Hyderabad hotel, Pune hotel, and our Mumbai hotels are doing extremely well on staycations. Renaissance in Powai is a fabulous product on the lakefront, which is doing extremely well on staycations. We're probably one of the rare hotels that has a pet-friendly policy at the Renaissance Powai. All that helps. Similarly, as a luxury experience, JW Marriott at Sahar is doing extremely well on staycations. And we're getting a lot of seafarers group. I mean, in the recent days, if you were to look at it, I think we're clocking somewhere around 80-85% occupancies at the JW Marriott Sahar, which is extremely encouraging. Low rates, but the occupancies are clearly climbing up very sharply. F&B is, I think, the other strength that we're seeing across our portfolio. Hyderabad, Bangalore, Mumbai are doing extremely well on F&B. Our large hotels of Renaissance and JW Marriott Mumbai have seen a lot of weddings happening, and that seems to be a strong segment going forward for the months to come. Going forward, I think we will do baby step improvements on occupancies and average room rates week on week, which means there will be step-ups as far as month-on-month is concerned, and we should see sharper step-ups on quarter-to-quarter basis. Thank you.
In terms of room rents, Mr. Sethi, where are they at as compared to a couple of months back? Where are they as compared to pre-COVID?
So we saw roughly a 4% growth in the Q2 compared to Q1 on the ADRs. I think we will see a similar sort of growth in Q3. Right now, our focus is to get people on our beds in our rooms, and so occupancy-driven strategy is what we're following. We have enough inventory not to worry too much about rates right now, and largely since we are picking up groups which typically move at low rates, the rates will continue to be under pressure, but I see a sharper uptick in occupancies. Rates will grow, but at a slower pace than occupancies for sure.
Right. Mr. Baqaia, what about you? I mean, same question in terms of room rents and how they are tracking?
Yeah, Prashant, similar answer. I would echo Sanjay's sentiments. We are roughly 30% below pre-COVID levels at the moment, by and large across the board. We haven't had too many meetings where we've discussed rates and strategies on rates. It's largely filling up rooms. This is probably the best time for your viewers and for travelers to be moving around the country. And we've seen a lot of good traction in properties in Himachal, for example. Kerala is now picking up through the month of December since they've eased up and opened up a little bit. Properties like Agra, other similar cities where you can drive around and get there, or you can fly down fairly safely in a short flight. So all of the leisure businesses are picking up faster than these cities, and I think our bigger challenge would be cities that their businesses are driven predominantly by technology and IT. For example, Bangalore. Depending upon locations, Bangalore city would, to my mind, face that much more of a challenge to bounce back to normal.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining in. All the best for the coming season. As we slip into a very short break, here is